mic's here, so.
There it goes.
All right, okay. Good evening. Welcome to the West Highland Neighborhood Association. First up, we're going to have Amanda Sandoval, counseling to Rafael Espinosa.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Amanda. I work for Councilman Espinosa, and he would be here, but he is taking a much-needed vacation with his wife, Kari. So for the next couple weeks, if you don't hear from him, just use me as a point of contact, which is what we usually do anyway. But just so you know, he's totally MIA. So one of the things that he's working on right now is I think will be especially important for the West Highland Neighborhood Association. So when there is a rezoning, all that happens, so when you're changing a land use from one type of land use to another, is a sign. And then a notification electronically comes out to the RNOs, and it's the RNO's responsibility to get it out to their membership. And as soon as Rafael got into office, we had a couple different challenging rezonings, and we kept coming up against resistance on, we don't feel like it was fair to have an RNO have to reach out to their whole membership. Like Whna's boundaries are fairly large. I live in Northwest Denver, like I live in the Berkeley area, so our boundaries are 38th to 52nd, Sheridan to Federal. So he came up with a piece of legislation that you will get, if you are within 200 feet of the rezoning, you will get 2 mailers out. So you'll get one when the rezoning gets issued. You would get a mailer, and so we figured we were going to send it to the property owner. So we're actually going to send it, get a list made from community planning and development, and it will go to the property owner, not necessarily the landlord. So that's the only discrepancy because of property rights. So it would, when the first notification comes out, Whna will still receive it electronically, and then people within the 200-foot boundary will also see it, be mailed a letter, an official letter, with the name of the applicant, what zone district it is, what zone district it's going towards, and then the next step will be the next 2 planning hearings. So you'll get another letter when it goes to planning board, and then on that same letter will say the planning board hearing and then the official city council public hearing. And hopefully that will create better opportunity for people to be engaged in these land use issues and know about them up front, instead of having to happen to be driving by and see a sign up that's posted for 20 days. And if they're on a border, so we dealt with one on St. Dominic's that was on a border between West Highland and Sloan's Lake boundaries. I think it will help get the neighbors hopefully talking more together. So that bill goes to the planning board in a couple weeks. I can't remember the exact date. It came out yesterday. I'm sorry, forgive me for not knowing that. And then the one thing that Rafael wanted me to pass on, and he said, if you have an issue, we'll have to take it up with him next month and he won't come, is I think he had told everyone in the neighborhood that 32nd Avenue was going to be paved. And I think he said it was going to be paved this year. And we had our paving meeting with the city, and it's not going to be paved this year, it's going to be paved next year, but there is a section of streets in West Highland that will be paved, so I can send them out to Jackie and Trevor, and then they can send them out to the listserv or post them on Facebook. Huh? It was Newton. Yep, so there's a section of West Highland, I can't remember exactly which section, but a couple blocks that are being repaved. But 32nd as a bigger, because we receive a lot of complaints in our office from 32nd. What they want to do, just so you know, what they're thinking is, as we all know, we've had traffic engineering come and talk about the removal of the stop signs, or the removal of the street lights to stop signs, and they've presented on how they're going to create bulb outs on Irving and different parts of, not Irving, on Perry, and I think Tennyson. And so they want to do that work first before they put in the paver to pave the street. So they're supposed to put the bulb outs out this year, and then they'll pave next year, just to give you a thought on how that got done. And then other than that, yeah, do you have a question? So I think Tennyson is one of the streets that is getting the improvement. We asked, and they said no. So unfortunately, it's not. So I told Raphael I think people are going to be pretty upset because I think he had promised that. So I told him that I told him he's sending me into the lion's den when he's nice on a vacation, and that if you guys really need to talk to him, I will make sure to get him back here in May. And other than that, does anyone else have any questions? Yeah, Ray?
I have two questions. About a year and a half ago, maybe two, and they repaved Tennyson Street from 38 to 32nd. All the manhole covers have almost a 2-inch lip on one side that filled it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't bring those up to grade. When you did 29th Avenue last year, they didn't bring those up to grade. And also, Tennyson Street's paving job is all falling apart, not only where the patches, but everywhere else. And I noticed the other day, 29th Avenue has about a 2 or 3 foot section that's all cracked, ready to pop out. Another section that's falling in or caving in. Those are brand new paving jobs. It seems like whoever does those, private or city, they're not held accountable to do a decent job.
Yeah, so I honestly, I know that when developers go in like on Tennyson and have cut out to create water lines, I know that they're supposed to bring it up to a standard because there's a moratorium that for 3 years after a street has been paved, you're supposed to bring it up to a standard.
I'm not concerned with those. I'm concerned with the actual paving jobs.
Yeah, so I can bring it up, and if you can take photos and send them into our office, we can they have a patching crew that can come out. But other than that, I don't work in public works. I don't even, that's a whole separate ball of wax.
They just send a truck out just first to patch the place. They don't fix the streets falling apart.
I mean, we could bring it to their attention for sure.
Well, I did a year ago, and Pat Kennedy said that that's what I suppose work city does. I think Brandon was hired to do 29th Avenue, and I just noticed that was falling apart. It's not even a year old.
Raphael we went out when they were doing 29th Avenue, and it was city workers. That's who I coordinated with for him to see how it was done. So I don't know if they subcontract, but I know that when he went out to do a site visit, that we met with public works workers, and I didn't think it was a private entity, but I could be mistaken because you're right. I think it was in 2016.
It's just what's the point of you doing the streets fall apart in a year?
Yeah.
You just kind of repash them and you have a problem instead of
I don't know I can't remember what they did, but so 38th, if you divide 38th in half, or 38th from 38th east to Inca got a different type of treatment than 38th to Sheridan. I know that because one is a blue line and one was a green line on the report that we just got a couple weeks ago. So I can't remember how far they took it down for 29th or if it was just a mill. I don't know that, but we can follow up and I can tell Pat Kennedy. But I mean, those are just issues that we don't. Unfortunately, as you know, Councilman Espinosa has limited power, and and they've really been pushing on making sure that council members, know where their role is. And as we all know, Raphael pushes, and that's why we hope, as he got elected, is because we need a different representation in Northwest Denver, and he will continue to do that. But he cannot directly go and tell Public Works, you need to do this different. I can advocate for it, as his council aide, but he can't sit down with Pat Kennedy and say, you need to do a different job.
Correct. That just seems to waste your money to do the job and have all part here.
Louder, right? Louder.
Well, I think it's a waste of money to spend all this money on the repaving and a park here in the city.
Second that.
Anyone else? Yes.
Last month, you brought these forms for us to fill out. I think it has to do with Denver,
Correct.
quality of life, infrastructure, design quality, housing, and mobility.
Correct. Nope. You can give them to me and I'll turn them in for you. Okay, no problem.
Has there been any decision made on what the city wants to do with the intersection at Irving and 32nd?
Yeah, they're going to create a bulb out, so they're going to extend the curb line so that the distance between a pedestrian walking from one corner to the other is shorter. So they are supposed to come with final design soon, hopefully before summer, so they can start on that construction. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, in other words, they're not going to take out the...
Oh, no, not Irving. Sorry, I'm talking Perry. No, I haven't received an update on Irving. That's the challenging intersection. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Yeah, Doug?
Yeah, what about 32nd Spear at Green Court?
Yeah, we haven't.
I pointed out to you a couple weeks ago.
Yep, we haven't. So the way that it works when you get briefings is we had the paving briefing, which is very different than the infrastructure briefing.
I wasn't referring to the paving per se, but rather to the timing of the lights in an attempt to slow traffic that's often going over 50 miles an hour through that intersection at risk to pedestrians, baby carriages, and every other means of conveyance. It's a notoriously bad intersection for many years.
Yeah,
I've raised this with traffic engineering, with public works and various entities, and with the predecessors plural, going back 20 years. And still there's no resolution of this. Hopefully we won't have another fatal injury at that intersection before it's addressed.
yep. I know I was there when you spoke with Raphael. He had his own idea about a circulator. I think it went off topic about a circulator. I didn't remember writing down any notes about the timing. So if you can send me a follow-up email. I wrote more about the RTD circulator idea we had. I didn't hear any notes about the timing.
Yeah,
So
that's a separate issue.
so I may have missed that. So
Following up on Ray's point, it seems to me that given the experience on Tennyson a few years ago when they repaved and made new curb cuts, gutters, and connections to the sewer, the
Yep.
street, there was tremendous disruption in that corridor between 38th and 44th that affected a lot of businesses and a lot of residents. To the point that today, that same street is a mess. There's, it's good that traffic is slow, but the continuous cutting into the pavement for utilities of various description is a problem all over the neighborhood and probably all over the city. And yet there's no adequate accounting for which utility actually causes that damage that requires more frequent repaving of entire sections of street. We're talking about 29th, 32nd, 38th, but it's true all over the neighborhood. And it seems to me that issue has to be addressed, even if it means there has to be some kind of surcharge or fee assessed against the people who create that problem by creating those new curb cuts, which are never, in my experience, properly refinished and repaved. paved to make a relatively smooth surface.
Yep. Yeah, you're correct. I agree. We've gotten complaints, and sometimes it's the city doing, work. Sometimes it's Q3. Sometimes it's Excel. Sometimes it's the developer. And I agree. It's hard to, even as a council aide, it's hard to, and live in the neighborhood, it's hard to know who to keep accountable. And so that's why, as annoying as it is to have to take a photo and call 311, it's the only database system that we have, because we don't have access to any of the predecessors' emails. City council.
You've done that, Amanda, at least 3 or 4 dozen times over the past 5 years at various locations, including right in front of my own place. Okay? And I have never gotten a single reply, either from using the website or 311.
Well,
Not one.
I'm very accessible, so call our office and give us the number, and we can follow up. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Are there any other questions before Amanda goes? Thank you, Amanda, for coming. Thank you. Okay. Next, we're going to have Michael, and he's going to report on the downtown area plan amendment update, the development plans along the Platte River.
Put on sleep.
Oh,
I hope. Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Gates. I'm with Jefferson Park United Neighbors. We're the neighborhood just to the east of you. And let's see if I can do 2 things at once. And I'm going to talk about the downtown area plan, and I'm going to simplify a lot of this. I mean, feel free to ask questions as we go along, or after I do this, and I'm happy to even stay a little late just to talk to you guys in regards to this. But if we're talking about zoning towards the end of the evening, it's post 7 o'clock, I'm sure a lot of you would probably, your eyes would roll in the back of your head when we're talking about this kind of stuff. So I'm trying to simplify it as much as I can. I'm going to talk about 3 things. 1, the downtown area plan. 2, about how the R&Os in Northwest Denver, specifically West Highlands, West Colfax, Sloan's Lake Citizens Group, and Jefferson Park United Neighbors all kind of work together to lend a unified voice to community planning and development and provide information to them in regards to the downtown area plan. Because there were a few things that were associated with that were not in the plan that specifically addressed the needs of residents in west of I-25, the neighborhoods west of I-25, and then last but not least, we'll talk about the future of this area. So here's the plan amendment, and again, it's not coming out very good, but this is Jefferson Park. This blotchy area right here is the downtown area plan of what they're referring to, and specifically in this area right here is what basically Elitch's is, and I'm sure that some of you have heard recently in the news about Elitch's being removed. That, I mean, again, that's probably about a 10-year plan, but when they talk about this, this is basically the first layer of zoning, the first inception of what potentially could go there once the existing buildings or streets have been modified or removed. Let's see, I'll just move to this one. This one's probably going to be a little bit better in terms, it's just basically the same thing. Okay. Oh, yeah. Thanks. All right. That's what happens when you do 2 things at once. Okay, so basically there's our neighborhood right here. And you can see that there is overlap with the downtown area plan. And again, what we're concerned about, and I guess a lot of people, is this 23rd Avenue exit, because that is the connection point for not only our neighborhood, but a lot of residents over here that would bike or even drive to downtown. That's an entrance point. There's certainly, if you are familiar with the 23rd Avenue Bridge, the bike lanes are very antiquated at best. You've got a highway on-ramp and off-ramp at that location. And a lot of traffic, a lot of density that's going in our neighborhood and in your neighborhood as well. More people coming in that area, and it's probably difficult for the traffic, for the streets and those on and off ramps to handle all of that traffic. And the one point in here is basically that this plan amendment, we already have a neighborhood plan that addresses this, but again, if you look, I mean, that's 2005, and we started that in probably about 1998. And it was finally adopted in 2005, and certainly our neighborhood 13 years ago was a lot different than what it is right now. And this plan supersedes kind of what is basically our neighborhood plan. A lot of this had gone through, and I just happened to attend a meeting on November 17th where they were showing this. They started work on this, I think around, Mandy, you remember, about February of last year?
Yeah.
January? Okay. And so we weren't, a lot of this was things that I don't think that we had an adequate amount of a voice in regards to this. Specifically in regards to this plan, they talk about the 23rd Avenue Bridge, but they don't necessarily highlight the problems that are associated with that. It's not detailed. So our concern was that in choosing how they want to make the infrastructure improvements in this area, that they could choose to maybe do something up in this area prior to actually spending the money to make this type of improvement here. They were talking about a bridge here, a bridge here, a bridge in this area, where it does serve our neighborhood, but it certainly doesn't serve Sloan's Lake in your neighborhood as well. And we thought that maybe the bigger bang for the buck would be to fix this area right in here. So we wanted to make sure that our voices were heard. So we had an R&O, we invited CPD to a town hall meeting. The first part of January, we had a good representation from our neighborhoods. We certainly lent our voice and kind of discussed this. The outcome was, and Jackie had attended a few meetings, CPD invited our neighborhood to attend some specific meetings with CPD to discuss our concerns, which was great. And the outcome of that were these infrastructure improvements that they basically took this map and said, okay, we're going to modify this and we're going to assign where we want to initiate any type of improvements once this plan has been adopted. This is a guide to say, and you notice right here that 23rd Avenue Bridge is received a, and again, this is, they haven't really said this is specific funds are going to be associated there, but they kind of lent the scale to say that alphabetically that's where they would like to start. So that's great for all of us in this room. Here are the things that we were asking: multimodal improvements, so a dedicated bike lane, a dedicated pedestrian lane, safe access from even from 23rd and Clay going east all the way through Water Street. So they're initiating a bicycle network. which is great. The other discussion were the building heights. We have concern about the potential of having up to 20 stories, specifically in this area right here, of just nothing but, right now it's discussed as being unrestricted in height. And so our concern would be this just big giant blockade type of development that would go along I-25. Yes, sir.
Question appropriate now?
Sure.
Should we go back to the previous slide?
Okay.
Okay, where are you referring to, for example, the so-called River Mile project of Robesco?
So if I'm correct, it's, Mandy, can you help me?
It's along the river.
Is it along here or is it along here?
And
Right here?
my understanding, based on their most recent design proposals, is they anticipate building out at least to accommodate 15,000 new residents and 4 to 5 buildings ranging from 40 to 59 stories each. I suspect that's going to generate tremendous traffic flows into the neighborhood, regardless of what's done.
Right there.
At 23rd Street.
Yes. That is a concern.
And have the powers that be in the city authorities address that for the satisfaction of your neighborhood?
Well, we're still in discussion with that. So in terms of zoning, I mean, this is the first, the foundation, so to speak, of what they're talking about, the first layer. And then when they go into specifics in terms of, well, is this area basically going to have those type of buildings? Is this area?
That it's two different documents.
Louder, please.
It's two different documents. This is the neighborhood plan document, and then after this gets passed, then they'll have to restart the entire process over to talk about the zoning and the heights. So,
I understand that, and what I'm suggesting is that while these are conceived to be two different courses of a planning process that are moving along somehow in parallel, they are in fact going to affect each other dramatically down the road. And so, even though we're outside the boundaries of these particular plans, we're going to be very seriously affected by any development of that scale in the general area of the confluence of the Platte and Sugar Creek. So I think it behooves us all to start paying closer attention to this and start demanding of the city and CDP and so on some serious attention to the environmental, social, and economic impacts of development of this scale. Because whatever long-term future we have, even as a species, is going to be seriously affected by these kinds of developments.
Thank you.
That's my case.
Okay, I think we'll move on, and that's what we're doing here this evening. That's Amanda is here to educate us. Michael's here to educate us, so we will be better informed. Thank you. Thanks,
So,
Michael.
yep, sure. So, I mean, our concern is kind of the building heights in here and that effect. What we're really, I mean, we recognize that change is going to happen. It's how can we manage that the type of building that would be amenable to everyone in the neighborhood or surrounding neighborhoods. I mean, this is our concern, is this blockade type of development where it's just this massive buildings that's a certain height, anywhere from 10 to 15 stories along I-25. What we've heard from the developer and what we've heard in talks with CPD is something more like this, where It's a term that's called porosity, where you have these towers, and again, they're going to be, you give up the density, or you manipulate the density, that's a better way to say it. Instead of having, this 15, 20-story towers for blocks and blocks, you maybe have a couple single towers that are 20, 30, and plus in terms of height. But you still can have these view planes or view tunnels through this. And that's potentially a way, and that's something that is certainly amenable to residents in our neighborhood.
Michael, can you give us more perspective of where this is? Am I seeing the background? What bridge is that?
So these are River Miles renderings. This is all basically, I mean, just think of it in terms of villages. Is the removal of villages, and then there's going to be potentially bridges that are going to be in that area. So these are clipped from River Miles' own site. Yes, I mean and I think if we go to this next slide, it doesn't have it. I mean there are bridges that are talked about in these plans, pedestrian bridges that connect from 26. There's a pedestrian bridge that I believe connects from the end of 20th to connecting into specifically our neighborhood, but there's really not anything that addresses automobiles. That again is a CDOT. It's CDOT's domain, and that's a conversation. Another slide that's coming up here because of this car-centric traffic. I mean, these attractions right here, even though villages may go away, I mean, there's always going to be the aquarium and children's museum for the foreseeable future, which then results in a lot of traffic. And I mean, I know for a fact we talked to people from Children's Museum, and they said that probably 90+% of their membership or the people that attend the Children's Museum come from outside a walkable distance. So there's always going to be cars in this area. It's how can we, again, like you were saying, sir, how can we address that situation where we can get cars to flow in and we're not having a lot of traffic that's coming in through the neighborhoods or backing through it. CDOT is coming to our neighborhood. They're doing a Pell study right now, and that's basically from the 20th Street all the way down to Alameda, and they're reviewing this area. They've talked in meetings that we've been in attendance with them about a 5 to 7 year time frame to remove both the Spear Bridge and 23rd Avenue Bridge. What we did in terms of our discussions with CPD is to bring a representative from CDOT to those meetings, because believe it or not, they didn't really know that each other were doing these projects, so it was great to let them know that. So now, hopefully they're going to be working harmoniously. So CDOT is doing this study, and they will be coming out to the neighborhoods. It looks like the end of Q2 to talk to the RNOs. So we'll make sure that provide them with your information. They will be coming to our neighborhood. So we've got Greenway Foundation, and they're part of the river as well with the reclamation. They're going to be coming to our meeting on April 10th at 6:30 to discuss kind of their vision of that area and basically in the entire plat, but we'll ask them specific questions in regards to that. Yes? Right.
They have money. And so I was curious, like, how do you go about, what's the strategy for engaging organizations like this to get involved?
Well, Actually, the developer of the River Mile project spoke at our meeting, our general membership meeting last month. He mentioned Jeff Shoemaker in the Greenway Foundation, so I figured it was a good time to reach out to him and ask him to attend our meeting. I mean, certainly to provide Jackie's information and have him come and kind of discuss this too. Again, because it's close enough for us all, and that specifically that connection point now is going to be utilized, especially in the future with that new development down there, by a lot of neighbors in this area. So they're going to be speaking at our meeting on the 10th, as well as CPD. This was a kind of their timeline of what they have right now, and again, I think that's, Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's got a little bit of padding to it now. Yeah. Right. But there's still opportunity, basically there's still opportunity to provide information to CPD if you so desire.
Earlier you mentioned removal of the Spear Bridge.
Correct.
Removal and replacement?
Yes. So as far as, again, I'm not, that's the CDOT, but that's what they've discussed, is the removal and replacement of the Spear Bridge. Even the off-ramps, so 23rd, 17th, even Spear is kind of up in the air about how they would want to reconfigure that entire area. So that's a discussion, even 17th, I believe. So it's that goes into the stadium where all the RVs park. That's all kind of up for discussion. So that area could change dramatically, and again, with a 5 to 7 year time frame. Again, thank you everybody for your, oh, sorry. I know that there was some information in the plan amendment, but that's not a question that we asked the developer. I'm sure that they're, I know that they've the structure that's over by REI has had a lot of flooding problems, and I know that Reese Dugan is the one that is the developer of River Mile. And he mentioned that in his talk with us, so they certainly are aware of the problems in that area. Any other questions? Yes.
So is there just one developer that has the land and sold already?
So to my knowledge, it's Reese and Stan Kroenke that own that area that we were talking about, basically Elitch's area. And then I think, Amanda, is there anybody else that's?
So there's one owner in Elitch's, and his name is it's not just one owner, it's a company that owns it, and he would be the developer of it. And then the Pepsi Center is a separate owner, and they do two separate developments.
So that lease person or company has the land from Elitch's all the way up to Jefferson Park?
No, he has the land where Elitch's is right now.
Yeah.
Period, that's it. He doesn't cross over the river. It's just the English outside. So the train tracks, the commercial line, that's the English property.
Okay, anyone else have any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, next we have committee updates. Design and Preservation did not have any updates. Liquor license, nope. Social committee, we need a social person to be in charge of the social committee. And that would be like arranging, like during the summer months when we're on break here, arranging some activity or find a place where we could have the meeting other than, you know, like at a bar or restaurant or your space. Or so we can go and then have like prizes and just talk more socially over drinks and food and not be so intense like this. So we're still looking for a social committee. Transportation committee? Nope. Zoning? Nope. Okay, so now we're ready for open floor for non-agenda items. And we have a few people here. We have Milo Schwab. Would you like to come up and say a few words? Yeah, come on up. And introduce yourself.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Milo Schwab. I am a Democrat and I'm running for state senate, running to represent you guys right here. I live in the Berkeley neighborhood just north, and my wife is actually on the Berkeley Regis United Neighborhood Board. Yeah. She took on the job of secretary because she was afraid of that she might get roped into the social committee. She preempted. So I'll be brief. I'm a small business and civil rights attorney, and I'm running because we need people that are looking to get things done. For too long, it's been about arguments and about winning an argument and winning an election, and too little about making change to improve people's lives. I got in about 4 or 6 months ago, but I started thinking about it maybe seriously a little over a year ago. And that was when someone came into my office and told me a story about how he had been arrested, and when he told the judge that he could make $1,000 bail. No, he could make $10,000 bail. He had $1,000 that he'd go to a bail bondsman and pay for $10,000 bail. The judge set it at $50,000. He sat in jail for 9 months, lost his job, lost his apartment, and he was acquitted. And it just got me thinking about all the ways that our system is not functioning well, that it's not looking for solutions, looking to make things better. But yeah, I'm going to stick around a little bit afterwards. Come and talk to me. I'd love to hear what's important to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Milo. And we also have this evening Dave John, and he's Republican, sorry, that was just Republican, and he's running for Dan Babone's space. Okay, come on up. It's a hard word to say.
Oh, I can understand. You know, I have trouble saying Democrat. But my name's Robert John. I go by Dave. I live at 2912 Raleigh. I've just retired from the city and county of Denver after 35 years. And as my retirement hobby, I've gotten back into politics. I've taken over the role of being our district Republican captain and our candidate for House District 4. And we're the resistance. Yeah, we're a very small minority, but we're a concerned minority that hopes you all realize how one-party rule has worked to the detriment of North Denver. With a little more discussion and influence, we might not see these horrible developments going up. It's too late now, but one thing I want to do is keep our taxes low so we can afford to stay in our houses, because my opposing candidates want to get rid of Tabor, raise our taxes through the roof, make it impossible for us to afford to live here. I also want to clean up transportation. It's a mess. When I moved to Denver in '74, you could get anywhere in the city from Spear and I-25 in 15 minutes. It was wonderful. That hasn't been the case for years. So we need to have sensible solutions to transportation. I know bicycles, bus lines, light rail are very popular, very attractive, but we all still have cars. People don't work and live close to any of the public transportation options they have available. You drive halfway across the damn city, then you drive 8 miles from I-25 to your place of employment. You're not served by mass transit. The most important thing to me is transparency. At every level of government, especially these development schemes, we should know what's going on. There shouldn't be anything hidden. Every branch of government should be as transparent as possible and not hide anything. They have an obligation to us, the citizens. That's basically what I'm running on, besides enjoying being the resistance. But please consider what each party is offering. Each party has offered in the past. The party that's in power now hasn't developed, hasn't produced. So we got to figure out a different way of doing it. And thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Okay. Republican. Okay. I'll practice that for you. AJ, would you like to say a few words?
I'm AJ Messick. I'm the pastor of Renewal Church over here at 32nd and Irving. We're a new church coming in and are renovating the property and hope to open up sometime in the window of July to September this year. But we're excited about creating a church that blesses the community. And people have been interested in what we're up to, especially in regard with the property and its history. And so if you have any questions, you ever want to stop by and see the renovations or kind of hear what's going on, feel free to reach out to me. We don't keep set office hours at this point, but renewaldenver.org, you can find my email on there. And yeah, we'd love to connect and keep the neighborhood apprised and do some listening and find out what's some ways that we can bring value to the neighborhood. Thanks. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I'm excited about this one.
I'm getting kept on track here. So this summer we'll have some food truck rallies in the parking lot. So I checked, it's third Tuesdays, right around 5 o'clock for a couple hours. There'll be a couple food trucks, I think 3 to 4 food trucks in the parking lot. Third Tuesdays, May through August. So looking forward to that being a way that we can bring some community together. We all love food trucks, right? So I think we can agree on that. All right. Thank you guys so much and look forward to connecting with you.
Thanks, AJ.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Anyone else have anything that they'd like to say? Here. Come on up.
Hello, West Highland Neighborhood Association. My name is Lisa Ferreira. Some of you know me from 30 years ago. Some of you don't know me from 30 years ago. I had the pleasure today to be at a seminar with the Urban Drainage and Flood Control District. And knowing that I was coming here tonight, I brought some flyers. And to the woman in the orange jacket, when you were talking about who can we talk to about green space along our rivers, Urban Drainage and Flood Control District. For the woman who had a question about the floodplain along Revesco, Urban Drainage and Flood Control District is working with Revesco to make sure that the features that you saw on Mr. Gates' presentation are actually the features that are in the floodplain, so that's the interaction between the hardscape and the water, so that when the water rises, you're not losing life or property. You've got a place for that to happen. Part of the reason that I think that this is extremely important is Urban Drainage and Flood Control District is respecting Tabor, and they're going to come to the citizens of the metro area in November and ask to be granted the mill levy that they were guaranteed in 1969. And so you'll have an opportunity to vote on that. The mill levy at that time was 0.1, and due to Tabor, their actual funding is about 50% of that. They've got a $124 million shortfall on the projects along the South Platte River and the Cherry Creek and all of the reaches in the district. So if you'd like more information, I'll have these flyers. So thank you.
Is that it? Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming tonight.